The crisis at our southern border hitting new records. CBP revealing illegal encounters surpassed 300,000 in December alone.
Meanwhile, the showdown escalates between Texas and the White House over razor wire as Governor Abbott asserts his state's right to defend itself.
But the Lone Star State is not alone. 25 governors now supporting Abbott in the fight. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is one of them, and he joins us now. Governor Kemp, thanks for being with us. Why did you think it was important for Georgia to join Texas?
Well, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. Listen, it's like, governors all over the country have been saying every state's a border state now. That includes Georgia, and that's why we're standing strong with Governor Abbott to stop this insanity at the southern border, because the president and the White House won't.
So, Governor, what do you think is going on with the Biden administration right now? A record number, over 300,000 illegal immigrants in the month of December alone. Biden has been in the administration for almost a full term now. Do you think they don't care, they don't recognize this problem, or do they think that this is a political calculation? Fighting Texas will somehow help them in their re-election effort?
Well, I think early on they just didn't care. Now I think they just, and I think a lot of people thought they didn't get it. I think now they're seeing the political ramifications of that, which is insane when you think about over 300,000 encounters in December. That breaks a September record, so the problem's getting worse, not better. 19 people on the FBI terror watch list were arrested for a total of 50 this fiscal year. I mean, how many of those have gotten through that we didn't apprehend that are now in our country? So these are serious things. I think the American people are ready for the president to do something. And, the White House yesterday, in response to the Republican governors that are standing with Governor Abbott and sent a letter, they're saying call your member of Congress and get them to work out a deal. I mean, look, this buck stops with the White House and President Biden. He had both houses of Congress from 2020 to 2022 and didn't do a damn thing about the crisis at the border. And now that it's gotten political, they're trying to lay the blame on somebody else. This is actions that the president can take today to turn this tide and stand with Governor Abbott instead of working against him.
Governor, speaking of the administrations, right now Donald Trump's running to be the next commander-in-chief, to be the person enforcing what's going on at the border. Just trying to shift gears just a little bit. What do you make of the state of the Republican race right now on the Republican side? Because there's two candidates left. Some people are saying there's not enough delegates to be had for Nikki Haley. Where are you on whether this race should continue or not?
Well, I think when you look at the delegate count, I know somebody in Georgia tweeted yesterday that, less people have voted in this election than reside in Gwinnett County, Georgia. So, two strong wins, no doubt about it, early on, but still a long way to go. And I don't think it's for the party leadership or anybody else decide who the nominee is going to be. There's a process for that. The people will vote and decide that, and I know the candidates have to decide, when's the right time for them to exit a race if they're going to. So I'll leave that up to them. I think we'll continue to watch. It's got a long way to go to South Carolina. But look, that doesn't change the fact of the matter that everybody's standing on the Republican side in solidarity with what's happening in Texas, the disaster at the southern border, the runaway inflation we've seen in the country, just the bad policies of the White House really that have people so fired up about this election. 2024 is going to be a critical year.
All right, Governor Brian Kemp, thanks for being on with us this morning.
Standing with Texas. Governor, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.